Okay, I'm about to do probably the most unique video I've ever done. I made a mention in one of my previous photography videos, or not photography videos, it was, let's see, which one was it? Have We Forgotten to Stop and Smell the Roses? That's the one. Made a mention that I practice yoga. I've been practicing now for what'll be, actually, it's over a year. I started last May. I found some videos on YouTube. And what got me into it was a rather interesting little story. In a nutshell, I was having some issues with an ex, and you can imagine the stress that it brought on. And one of my former classmates, who's a friend of mine, had seen this and said that I needed something to release. And I told her that I'd been practicing yoga, and she recommended that we get into a class. And then last September, I signed up at the local athletic club, local gym, and as they say, the rest is history. After my first class, I fell completely in love with yoga. What you're looking at here is a posture or asana known as balasana, which is child's pose. And this is one of my favorites because it happens to be a resting pose, and oftentimes I feel if there's a day when I can't take a specific pose for very long, often I will escape into child's pose for a moment or two to try and rest myself. This is obviously my wallpaper now, but it is a sequence of poses known as a vinyasa, and this particular vinyasa is Surya Namaskara, which is the sun salutation. If there are variations on the sun salutation, it depends on who the instructor is, but I will say this: if you go to a yoga class, more than likely you will see this vinyasa as a primary component of the class. If anybody's curious, if you just search for Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutation here on YouTube, there are several videos in which the vinyasa is being carried out. This is a collection of reasons why I personally practice yoga. What yoga is essentially is a union of the mind, body, and breath. Now, sometimes you will hear mind, body, and spirit, but unfortunately, a lot of people who happen to be very religious, and I don't know who's going to be watching this video, so I'm playing it safe, but those who seem to be very religious tend to think of the spirit in religious context. It is not meant to be that way, but to avoid any trouble, then more than likely you will hear something more generic, mind, body, and breath, as an example. In the beginning of class, they do centering. And what does centering do? In a nutshell, what it does, as you can see I've written here, it says it helps the mind's concentration on the task at hand. It helps to block out any extraneous things, any things you may have to do during the day, any issues you may be dealing with in life. Centering helps to block all of that out, get rid of it, and help you to concentrate more on your practice. One of the reasons I also started my practice is that I have mild cerebral palsy, and I do sit in front of the computer a lot. I've noticed that within a year, my posture has improved, and it does help to increase flexibility and keep myself limber. Now, the one thing to remember about yoga is that in a lot of other physical activities, a lot of times you would see competition, and you're trying to be just like the other guy. We'll get to that in a moment, but in a nutshell, you should not rush these postures. It's like trying to rush your birthday coming up, okay? You can't. You want your birthday to come up so quickly, you're super excited, but you can't. It's the same thing here with these postures. You so excited to get all this flexibility, and you wanna have it here and now. Nope, can't happen. You need to take your time. Another component is controlled breathing, which helps to increase your oxygen intake and let go of stress. I have personally found myself to be much calmer after having started my practice and continuing my practice to this day. In fact, I just concluded a 30-minute practice before beginning this video, and the physical benefits, that would be obvious. You would see people around you like, oh my God, look how flexible they are. I wish I could do that sort of thing. The internal benefits are, I guess the best way for me to describe it is you just have to try it out for yourself. But it's a union of the mind, body, and breath. All three of them work together to help create a balanced experience and help to really, honestly improve your life. At least that's what it's done for me. It's similar in a way to the exposure triangle. The aperture, ISO, and shutter speed help to create a balanced exposure. Mind, body, and breath in the same way help to create a balanced practice. And like I said, it can, in fact, very well change your life, because it helps you to become in tune with yourself. If you ever go to a class, the instructor might say something along the lines of, listen to your body first and me second. Nobody knows your body better than you do. Nobody knows you better than you do. And yoga can help connect you with yourself. Like I was saying earlier, it helps calm me, it keeps me limber, and it relaxes me. When I'm done with practice, we have a 5-minute meditation at the end, and there's no chanting involved, there's no crazy rituals or anything like that. It's just quiet time, and it really helps to clean out your mind, clean out your body, just clean out you. And at the end, like I said, it's really impossible to describe how wonderful it feels. And I only say that because I can sit here and talk all day about how it calms me and how it relaxes me, but the way I feel is that until you experience it for yourself, sometimes it's best to, like I just said, see for yourself. It is non-competitive. Remember, I was talking earlier about how yoga, how a lot of other physical activities, you're pushing yourself to the limit. With yoga, and you're trying to compete with somebody else. Think about your daily life even. We're trying to compete with Mr. John Smith next door, trying to have the best lawn or the best car or whatever. Yoga is a non-competitive practice, and that's the other thing. It is practice. We'll get to that in a moment. But it is not competitive. You do not need to worry about the person next to you or in front of you. You worry about you, okay? That's the main thing that one needs to understand. And what I love about yoga is the non-competitive nature, and how you simply take your time to achieve your goals. For instance, I was sitting for a long period of time in front of the computer, so the very first yoga practice I did primarily concentrated on trying to relieve my lower back. Nowadays, aside from the general practice that I attend on the weekends, I tend to focus more on relaxation. my 30-minute the 30-minute practice that I've started recently is focusing primarily on calming myself at the end of a big day. And like I said earlier, focus on yourself. The perfect pose is the one that you can do today, in this moment. No 2 days are alike. You may be feeling perfect one day, maybe the next day not so much. That's okay. You do not need to kick yourself and say, "Oh, I was here yesterday. Why am I not here today?" You do not need to kick yourself. You need not worry about what the future brings, okay? Because nobody can predict the future, and living in the present, which yoga forces you in a way to do, it basically helps you to create a better image internally of yourself. And I know that some of you are probably thinking I'm talking nonsense. That's why I'm saying the best way to really understand the way, at least the way I see it, is to try it out for yourself and experience it for yourself. For those of you out there who have practiced yoga or are practicing, what are your reasons for practicing? And what do you got? Everybody else, for those of you who have not practiced, have I hopefully have I gotten you into thinking about practicing? What's your take on it? But that's basically why I practice. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.